Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Caden Thompson.
And I'm Nate Blackwell.
Welcome to Selective Wisdom, where we talk about fitness, bodybuilding, life, and everything in between.
We are excited to be here and expand on a range of different subjects and topics we don't get to talk about very often. Let's jump right in.
Nate Blackwell, welcome back to episode number 2 of Selective Wisdom. How's your week been going, bro? We actually did a really good job this week of not talking to
Not
each other
talking.
about every detail of our lives.
Well, we missed a couple video game sessions here and there, and then like when we did get on, it was kind of like a group thing, so we didn't really have a chance to chit chat back
Yeah.
and forth. But week was busy, man. I onboarded 3 new clients from
Okay, we love
another
that.
coach on our team that is leaving. So I got 3 of his clients. They're all enhanced athletes. So,
That's always
there's a
fun,
whole
too.
other kind of, there's another arena with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I got my first open bodybuilder.
Open's
That
big
I
time,
think
man.
big time, bro. Scared me at first, like had me
Mm-hmm.
anxious, had me nervous at first. But then after I talked to him and was able to get in and see his programming and everything, man, it's not going to be that bad. I don't think. I think I
No.
like stressed myself out too much about that stuff, and then got into it and was like, oh, he's like a regular dude, just a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
So pretty excited for that. I mean, honestly, the other 2 guys, one's classic and one's men's physique. The classic guy I already knew pretty well. Eric, he's going to be a good athlete, and then Anthony has very high potential. Looks great.
Yeah.
Came in to me great. So hopefully we'll just be able to continue kind of whatever his old coach was doing with him, and we'll just move right into that thing and crush it. But what about you? How's your week?
Honestly, a little bit of the same. Honestly, things have been picking up quite a bit for the team. Like literally a month or so ago, my team was half of what it is now, which is really amazing. Justin had posted just a screenshot of a conversation with the last guy that I brought on, and he had some good things to say. So that was really good to see that. But yeah, it's been busy. Like we talked about, we miss some gaming sessions here and there that we usually do, but it's a good busy. When we get busier, it's usually always going to mean more people coming in. More money, more everything that with being busy is always good. So it's been fun. It's been, again, for me, it's I'm getting a lot more enhanced athletes now as well as some of my guys that were not enhanced wanting to hop on. So that's really fun. It pushes your limits as a coach. You really have to make sure that you're on top of your obviously education and things, because that is a huge thing. But the last guy that I got was a power lifter, and I have only worked with like one other power lifter before, so it's going to be really fun. He is one of the best clients so far that you can tell those people off the bat that are just going to be amazing. And I think that's really important. Something that both of our teams have done really well is building that community, and that what you need to be when you come in here. So a lot of the guys that we get are already bought into that, which is really nice. So it's going to be exciting to push for strength goals with somebody, rather than we're going to make him look like a beast too, but he's also going to need to perform in the gym like a beast. So that's going to be something that hasn't been my focus for a long time, personally or with clients. Like obviously we always want to get stronger, we always want to get better at the gym, but yeah, it's a new avenue, so I'm excited.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I actually picked up your client as well fairly recently. It's going to be fun. I mean, it definitely is challenging. You know what I mean? It challenges your, like you said, like your education. So go and do some research. It's been a long time since I did any type of programming for powerlifting. I went and did some research and found some good research to kind of show what I was already thinking. This is probably a good way to take it. And the client seems to be liking it. He messaged me the other day and seems to be doing his thing. Like you said, we're gonna take him from powerlifting kind of and turn him into a power builder almost. That's a big thing, is he wants to lose a little bit of body fat but continue to keep getting stronger, which is absolutely possible. He is natural. So,
100%.
That's kind of like the thing that we have to play with a little bit. But, as long as we're putting the right stimulus, we're giving him enough recovery, the food is right, he'll hit. He just hit 315 for the first time ever.
That's
a couple
awesome,
weeks
dude.
ago.
That's a huge accomplishment. Because that's not
I told him, not everybody can do that.
No, most people can't do that.
Well, I'm saying even if they train specifically for it,
no, yeah,
a lot of people will never see 315. Like, they just won't. It's like, the reason it is like 315 is heralded as like, okay, now you're actually strong, is because it is so hard to hit. It's not easy to get to.
No, with the because obviously we're both going down new avenues of maybe not new, but things we haven't explored in a long time. But like, how do you see? Because for me personally, whether it's between men and women, whether it's powerlifting or bodybuilding, there's really not a huge difference in the training styles. Like I mean, I don't know about your guy, but the power lifter that I brought on, he already was doing hypertrophy work outside of his big three. So it's like, you're really just adding a focus on top of, what everybody is like the basics, dude. They're the basics for a reason. So many people like want to find these new avenues of training and this and that. It's like, dude, your recovery, your sleep, your nutrition, those things are what's going to determine how much you progress. It's really not, as long as we're going hard in the gym. And of course, when it comes to powerlifting, we need to be careful of like, whereas me as a bodybuilder, like more often than not, I'm going to failure or training, one RIR, where they're going to have much more calculated areas inside of like the reps in reserve and stuff. But yeah, I mean, for me, the way I look at it is it's not some different universe that we need to go into.
Well, it's crazy because the fitness industry feels like that's how it is for everything, right? So CrossFit is so much different than a hypertrophy workout versus, and then like powerlifting is so much different than hypertrophy lifting, like bodybuilding style training. And then you go down to the other fitness avenues. But then when you kind of start coaching some of those people who do both, like for instance, we coach a lot of hybrid guys who are runners or CrossFitters or high rocks people, but they want to get into bodybuilding. One thing, they're already in great shape. Their body is already usually looking fantastic. The one guy that I've gotten that won overall, he came to me and I was like, this dude has pro written all over. You know what I mean? Like, they already had the basics for everything. You just have to fill in the little bit of knowledge base that you need to make sure they're cooking the right way. But I wanted to talk, you said something really like, we've built, the word for it is culture. Both of our teams.
That's what I meant.
So yes, your team and our team has built a culture of a standard of excellence that when you come to us, when you come into Tua, okay, these guys are not like just scraping by or giving you a little bit. We're giving you extra. Like, I had a client, tell me today, he was like, man, I've been with other coaches before and they do not give me this amount of attention, this amount of detail, and this amount of like care. It's like, oh, I'm having this issue. Okay, well, don't worry. Just don't stress about it. We'll get it figured out. Like, that's all they don't change anything. It's like, okay, well, that's an issue.
That's because they don't know.
And exactly.
They don't know.
Most of them don't know. Most of them don't have people that they can go to and be like, hey, this is what's going on with my client. So it's nice that we are in the process of getting that knowledge base. And then it's cool because we have each other to kind of even bounce ideas off of. You know what I mean? Like, if you need something, you can always be like, hey, because going to Justin or going to Brady, it's always a little bit of a weird like dynamic, because you're like, I'm asking my boss for something that I feel like I should probably already know, but I don't. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's nice to have like a friend that is in the same coaching space that we're kind of even technically competitors.
Honestly,
in the space, we were talking about that. Like, let's get some guys on stage together so we can see who's like, So it's one of those things where we have to, you have to have that community within the community. Like, you have like the bodybuilding community, and you have like your little, like you have our communities, our cultures. But it's cool because we can mesh our cultures together and get the best out of both.
Well,
by just having an open dialogue.
And I think that's one of the coolest things is like, we have the guys on Tua, the guys on Together More, or the gals on, Tua, the gals on Together More, they're going to have a very similar
experience.
Ideology. Well, I'm talking about for the, like, you're talking about the culture we've built, right? They're so different, yet the pillars of them are the same. Hard work, loyalty, all these things. It's like, it's just cool that we can have such a different experience. Like, there are people who do not fit Together More that will fit you guys perfectly. There's people who don't fit you that will fit together more perfectly. So even though we are competitors in the space, we have the pillars of what these cultures are, which are what what a successful culture should be, but they're so different that we're going to have our own certain people. And like, even me and you we have very similar outlines over how we coach and the modalities and things like that, but at the end of the day, like, we're different enough to where we aren't exactly a copy and paste coach, which I mean, like you spoke on earlier, like past coaching experiences with clients, and it's like I hear that too, all the time, and they're like, this is nothing like what I thought was going to be happening. I think, like, what do you think makes you that person that stands out? Like, what is being a great coach to you?
Like, it's a difficult question because you can give a lot of different answers and they're all going to sound sexy for online. They're going to sound good for Instagram clips and blah, blah, blah. But the thing is for one thing, I would never ask you to do anything that I haven't done. Right. Second is I've been in all the places that these people that come to me have been. I've been in the bad mental spaces, the bad physical spaces. I've been in the good mental spaces and the good physical spaces. I've competed. I've done well in competitions. I've done a powerlifting competition before, even though my numbers were trash. Don't ever go look that up. It's horrible.
You've done a powerlifting competition before?
Yeah, it was natural. It was right before I got into bodybuilding.
I did not know that.
What's crazy is I did it with an injured pec. So, like, I only benched, I think, 275.
Gee.
Squatted the most I'd ever squatted before, and then I don't remember what I did. Maybe I deadlifted the most I ever deadlifted before. But again, this was 2019.
Oh, wow.
Like early 2019. Yeah. So this has been a long time. This is, like I said, pre-drug. So what's funny is I'm way stronger than that. But anyways, what sets me personally apart is how much I want you to succeed. Like when people come to me, like, they're like, I want to compete. My first thought, and I don't usually tell them this because then it gives them a false hope, but my first thought is, okay, what kind of chance do we have of winning? Right.
100%. Yeah.
And like I just said, I got a client. It's like, dude, this guy is fantastic. He's natural. So he's going to be going against natural guys. I've been to national competitions. I know he's going to wipe the floor with just about every local natural show. And that's exactly what he did. He walked in there and just mopped everybody. So, like, but it's not even those people, because those people are kind of easy. It's more like the people who are in the middle, right? Because that's where I am. Right? I'm not like super genetically gifted where I'm 300 pounds of just shredded or whatever.
I wish.
I'm not that person. Yeah, exactly. I know that I have to work fucking hard for everything that I get. There's nothing going to be handed to me. So when those people come to me, I want them so badly to succeed because I almost see myself, a little piece of myself in them. And that's why it sucks when they leave, right? I mean, we both know we've had clients come and go. Like, when a client that you've worked with and you've seen be successful, or you've seen kind of start the trajectory towards success, starts to, like, almost go backwards, and you're like, okay, they're getting ready to quit. It makes you, like, sad. And not sad because you're losing money, or not sad because you're losing. Like, it's sad because you're like, you were doing so freaking good. You know what I mean? You were doing so freaking good, and then all of a sudden, like, this thing happens, and whatever happens, and you're not being coached by me anymore, and it sucks because you just feel like you're kind of a failure. So
No, you're good.
But it's like, to me, that's what sets me apart. Because the training, the nutrition, all that stuff, honestly, you can get that from anyone.
I tell that to people all the time, man. It's that is the bottom of the barrel in terms of what we should be doing, what we should be getting people. The bottom of the barrel should be getting responses within, a timely manner, getting the results that paid for, getting, like getting the check-ins on time, like all those things are like the bare minimum that a coach should be supplying is, you know, adequate attention, you know, uh, detailed responses and like getting you the results. But
Well,
everything outside of that, like,
I've told you about those clients in like summer shredding that will come up to us as a group, like they see us in a jersey or whatever. And they come up to us in a group and they're like, "Hey, so can I borrow some of you guys' salt or whatever it is?" And
yeah,
then we're like, "Yeah, yeah. Do you need anything else?" Like, "Yeah, I just my coach hasn't given me anything to do today. Like,
yeah,
hasn't
it's
given me any burpees." I'm
crazy.
like, "You're on show day and you don't," and it's like their first show, and they're there by themselves. Their coach isn't there. Their coach is not messaging them back. I'm like, "Oh, this would freak me out.
It happened to
I
me.
would be freaking out."
Yeah.
You
And I
can't
think,
like
I
you can't.
think,
It's happened at least 3 or 4 times.
and I think to your point of like, that is, that is what kind of sets us apart is like how much we actually care about this, the success. Like you can tell, like I said, and I think one of the big pieces that does make a good coach, and this is why it's so hard for me to talk about like coaches that are just starting, because a huge part of why you're a good coach is experience. I've been there in a place where my coach wasn't responding to me, where I'm 2 weeks out and I haven't heard from him in 7 days, where I'm backstage and I have, number one, a handful of candy that apparently I'm supposed to eat, which is not what necessarily I think you should do back there anyways. But I have this, whatever, and I'm not told when to eat it. I'm not told when to go. Like this is my first show. I'm 21. Like I don't know anything about bodybuilding. So it's like you have to you have to go that extra mile, and like especially when you have the experience of I've been there before, it kind of, like you said, you see a little bit of you in them, and so it almost comes to a place of like, I know how this would make me feel, so I'm not going to allow anybody else to have that experience. And I think second on top of that is how much we actually love bodybuilding. We see a lot of coaches get into this for money. We see a lot of coaches get into this because they see an easy paycheck and they don't have to go to work and they can sit at home and whatever the case may be. But for me, I love the sport, so I want you to love the sport just as much as I do. So like you said, like you kind of, when that those things do happen, and they will happen whether you did your job or not, it does feel like you kind of failed them, because it's like, what could I have done better to make you have had a better experience? What could have I done better to whatever the case may be? And it's like, I also think of myself in those situations too. While my not my last coach, but my first coach wasn't the best at all, it was still a thing of like, I ran into a problem where I just didn't have any more money. So it's like sometimes those situations do happen, and that sucks even more, because it's like you both wanted to continue, but it just wasn't in the cards. But I think what I do love is like, this happened to me today. I had a guy who we worked together. We stopped working together, I don't know, a few months ago, kind of like the month after I started working with Together More, for just monetary reasons. He was moving to a new apartment, which was like double expensive. He was going back to school, all these things. And he tagged me in a post on Instagram today and was like, I don't know, 20 pounds down from where we left off. And he was just like, I just wanted to shout out, Caden, whatever, like from us working together, he was able to gain enough knowledge to then continue on his own. And I think that is my third point of what I think makes a good coach. And that is the education portion. I tell everybody who signs up with me, my job is not to just tell you what to do. It's to explain why we're doing it and how this interacts with your body, because you should not be with your coach forever unless you're a competitor. Like for me, I'm going to stay with Justin as long as he possibly is coaching. But a coach who is coaching a non-competitor, you should never expect to have that person forever, or you did not do your job. Now, if they want to continue with you, that's a different story, but they shouldn't feel like they need you after a certain point. Now, that timeline is different for everybody, but I think that's kind of my second biggest thing is like, it's, yeah, you have to be an educator as well. I think that's a huge responsibility of a coach.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 1,000% in agreement with that, because that's what I say when I'm on onboarding calls. My thing is I tell people, I am here to develop your skills. Right?
Yeah.
I have the skills, I have the knowledge base. Now I need to pass it on to you, because that's what my coach did for me. My coach took everything that he knew, and guess what? He taught me everything. Like, because you'll get these old school bodybuilders. Like I talked to a guy the other day, and I was like, yeah, man, like, who's coaching you? And he was like, I'd rather just like keep that private. I'm like, why? What is the point of keeping that private? But it's because he doesn't want his competitors know who's coaching him and how. It's like, dude, does not matter at all. Like, and then these coaches who are like, I don't send out protocols. I just tell you what to do when it comes to peak week every day. Yeah, dude, I've heard it. And these are like old school, really good bodybuilding coaches. And I'm like, that would freak me out. Like, what if you don't message me? What if you get sick? What like whatever happens. So it's one of those things where I want to develop, and I told this to a guy that I was talking to just the other day. I was like, I want to develop your skill, and I was specifically talking about macro tracking. I was like, I want to develop that into a skill where when we stop working together, if you want to start a diet, you can. You know how to start a diet because you know how to track your macros. You know when your calories normally are and where they are, and how to calculate that based off of your current body weight, based off of your current body percentage, whatever it is. Like, I want to develop that skill for you. I want to help you develop that skill, because if you do that, guess what? It also makes my job way easier. When you have that skill set, which is, again, the hybrid guys, they already have that skill set. They have the skill set of dining down, the skill set of training hard down already. They have the skill set of doing hard things down already. You don't have to teach them that. You don't have to try to, you don't have to develop that. So, like, instead of it taking 3 months to kind of get your feet wet, get to know your client, blah, 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 you can hop right into you can hop right into a prep, especially if they're big enough, they have enough muscle mass, all that good stuff. But like, you can almost do that. You can hop, and I know you can hop right into a pre-prep phase because I've done it. You know, I worked with George. I think I only worked with him for like 6 months. You know, and we took him from being a runner, full-time runner and lifter, to winning an overall. Like,
that was pretty cool. Like, I remember watching that. Yeah.
In 6 months, you know what I mean? Like, so like but the clients who come to us who don't have that skill need to understand that it's going to take time to develop that skill. That skill set of training is a skill.
It is.
Macro tracking is a skill. You know, even making your meal plan on time with the correct foods, with the correct blah, 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 is a skill that you can develop. Like, these are things to develop, and that's like what we as coaches are doing. So that is another great point that you made. Yeah, like, educating your clients is a huge thing that I feel like I do really well.
Yeah, same. And a lot of people don't do.
A lot of people do not do. Another thing that both of our teams do that we've already kind of talked about, but it's specific for coaching as well, is culture.
Yeah.
Right. You're coming to me, not only just for me, but for the Tua culture. You're coming to you, not just necessarily because it's you, but because of the TM culture that you guys have built. Like, that is a huge thing that a lot of coaches do not have, right? We know even good coaches who don't have a whole lot of culture on their team because they are not developed enough to have, like, they can coach really well, but they don't know how to, like, communicate.
It's really hard to build, though. Like, building a community is so unbelievably hard. And I think, like, I know one person who, I'll shout my boy out, Adrian Stover. I think you know him. He built a company from the ground up, and it is like, you know, he just got his first IFBB.
He's so annoying to me. We've talked about this before, but he's so good at what he does, but it's so annoying.
So good, bro. I know. It's annoying how good he is.
His athletes are impressive. Every time I see him, I'm
so
like,
impressive.
Oh my God.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he's one of the most impressive people. Like, his just his mindset around everything. But that culture is very important. And I think, like I said, like, that was one thing where I was very, very blessed with, to get with, together more and have that opportunity, because number one, I think for me, and this is probably exactly how you feel, it was already the culture that was inside of me. That's why I wanted to be a client of Together More. I did not seek out I did not seek out the team because I wanted to coach with them. At the time, they weren't even hiring coaches. So it was like, I just wanted to be a part of that culture as an athlete. And then when you see that, and then obviously, I bought in, I did what I needed to do. And obviously, Justin saw that and I ended up getting an opportunity, but it was nice because I didn't have to sell out in a sense. Like, oh, I want this community so bad that I'm struggling to build myself. So I'm just going to hop on a train. It was something that I wanted because it was exactly where my thoughts aligned. So it's definitely one of those things too, I think, for people who are looking for coaches and things, because I get these questions a lot. It's like, don't just look at, what the coach is capable of. Obviously, that should be your first thing, but also look at who they have around them, the team they have around them, because who you surround yourself with and who allows you to be around them tells a lot about who you are, a lot.
Yep.
And so I think, teams that have the respect of, like Tua and Together More, I think that's a huge accomplishment for either of us to even, get that chance too.
Well, so I had kind of a different experience, actually. I had the experience of, I came to Tua without an expectation, with no, like, so if you want to go way back, like, I always knew that I wanted to be great at something. As a man specifically, like, I wanted to be really good at something that was physical, right? So my first passion was basketball, was sports, whatever you want to call it. And I was okay. I was decent. Was never great. Was decent. Then same thing kind of happened with like lifting. Like, I got into lifting because people told me that I was big and I was strong. I was like, okay, well, let me go actually get big and strong. So I started working. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just going there and doing arms and chest, you know what I mean? Never hitting or anything like that. And so that developed into like a passion for lifting, but not really knowing where to take that to be great. And then when I went to summer shredding and saw that, I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is my thing. This is what I'm going to be great at.
Yeah.
And so that's when I kind of, I'm 26 when I went. 26, like, that is old for starting your bodybuilding career, So I took that and then started bodybuilding and realized pretty early on, especially when I started PEDs, like, okay, I'm not going to be like a Mr. Olympia or even like a really high level pro, probably. Is it still possible? Sure. But like right now I'm still thinking that, and I'm 30, you know what I mean? It's been 4 years, like not a whole lot.
You haven't really shot a shot in a minute though.
That's fair. But what I'm saying is, like, even if I went pro this year, right? Am I going to be a top level pro in the next 2 years? Probably. And I'm talking about a top level. I'm talking about like pushing for the Olympia
we got some things coming. You got some things coming into the mix that might boost you up a little bit.
maybe so, which would be awesome. But at the same time, like, I'm not stressed about that because I have now found my actual passion that I actually can be great at. I have the potential to be great at, and I have the motivation to be great at. That's where I'm kind of getting, is like, I started with a bad mentality, and Tua, when I got into Tua helped develop that mentality of like, no, you actually can be great. Because like, this is the thing with men. I don't know if you ever struggle with this or not, but like, when you've been successful, like slightly successful at things throughout your whole life, you've never really had like bad failure. When that one big time failure comes and it smashes you across the face, it demoralizes the fuck out of you. Like, it takes you like, it doesn't, it's not like somebody who's had failures throughout their life and it kind of takes you down a couple notches. It goes from like you're on 10 to like you're down to 0, like overnight. So that's kind of what was going on with me. And I mean, the whole situation, but like after that, like, Tua really helped develop me into an actual successfully thinking, competent man. You know what I mean? It didn't just say, oh, here you go, here's a good physique. Like, it developed me mentally as well, right? Especially Brady and like the way that he kind of coached me. And so that is where I want to develop my people. I want to have some stories that are like that, where people work with me for 3 years and they go and they get an opportunity with a coaching business or whatever it is, and they get to live out their dream. Or for instance, I do meet somebody who's a genetic freak who works with me for 2 years and then goes pro. Like, That's what I want to give. I want to give the same experience that I had as an athlete and as just a normal person getting into it the first time. I want to give someone else that. That's the reason I love Tua so much. That's the reason I love Tua to go and get coached by somebody else or whatever. Because I love the culture and I love how they have developed me personally.
Yeah.
Me getting developed personally is a big thing for me, and the reason I'm so loyal to Tua.
Yeah. And I think you're now in that position too where, and I think this is there's some recent events that we're seeing this into, but it's obviously a little different than ours. But like you're in that position where I see a lot of coaches finding success and love and passion within coaching, and that kind of takes a burden off their shoulder, and they kind of realize I don't have to bodybuild anymore. I don't need to bodybuild anymore because I have this. And we see it all the time. That's kind of where you see a lot of good bodybuilders drop off is when they start really, climbing success ladders and coaching.
Yeah.
Or you see, now we have recently.
Steve Baum and.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah. Rambod is no longer coaching. How old is he?
He's probably pushing 60. I think he's in his mid 50s.
And that's the hard thing is like I know you were like you're in your prime, like why are you whatever? And it's just like, man, he has done everything. He's had so many Olympia winners. He's made it. There isn't anywhere for him to go. So now, you have these things where like first, okay, you're this bodybuilder, you're, go die hard bodybuilder, then you get success with coaching. And now you're like, okay, well, bodybuilding isn't my main focus right now. And then you do really well in coaching. And then you get to the end and it's like, okay, well now I should probably focus on my family and my life. Because here's the thing, if you're a coach and a bodybuilder or you're a coach at that level, dude, it's your entire life. So like at some point, you got to kind of whatever. But I think, there's going to be room for, it's just like how, when LeBron finally leaves or, when Tom Brady, finally retires, things like that. Like it leaves room for a new era to come in. Did he?
He's been retired for like 2 years.
Who came back? He came back though.
No, he didn't come back.
He switched teams. He switched teams. Yeah. But when
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but now I don't know who's going to be like the next top dog. Like there's nobody. It's not like NBA where like when LeBron leaves, like you already know who in the league is like the second best. Like I don't really.
I think if you're in that circle, if you're in that upper echelon, you know what I mean? Like if you're in that Olympia level coach echelon, you know who's next. They know who's next.
Yeah, I don't know who's next, but they know probably.
We are know who's next, but they know like, okay, this guy is coaching some like I don't know who Mike whatever his name was that was second.
Bro,
who's his coach? Because Christ.
I don't know, but that man. But here's the thing.
You're about to get
again,
real famous.
It's always the guys who like I listened to a podcast he was doing, or maybe it was just a video where he was like, when I don't know what show he was preparing for, but he was like in some other country, and it was like he had no car, he had to walk miles to the gym, like his life was horrible. But it's like it's always those guys who like I don't see anybody at the top who doesn't deserve it, because bodybuilding is not a sport where you can be that kind of person. You can't be that kind of person who doesn't operate like that, who will, while they're in the like that dead time of prep where you're exhausted and everything hurts and like is going to be walking miles to the gym in the rain just to get your workout in and whatever. So
I'm sure there are some. They're not going to be top 5.
That's what I'm saying. Like you don't get there without that work ethic.
I feel like Olympia, like a bodybuilding, is one of the only sports where natural born talent doesn't matter as much as your like when I say natural born talent, I mean like you get a guy like LeBron who is 6'8", blah, blah, blah. He has the atypical this is going to be a basketball player thing, but he was like talented off the board, right? He didn't really have to work that hard, especially until he got that. But what he did, the reason that he is so great is because he had the top tier work ethic with the top tier talent. That's where bodybuilding is, right? Bodybuilding is like you have to have you can't just have top tier talent.
Mm-mm.
You may get a pro card early, but then you'll never do anything else.
Yeah.
Because you don't have the work ethic. But if you have top level, and I think we actually posted about this and had a thing about it on Threads, where it is genetics or is work ethic more important for a bodybuilder? Like, I mean, what are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on what's more important?
I think the situation depends because, okay, if we have two people and one of them has top tier genetics and the other one has top tier work ethic, if the guy with top tier genetics doesn't have good work ethic and doesn't follow his meal plan, doesn't train hard, even with the genetics, you're not going to be able to go. There's going to be someone else that will beat you. There's going to be someone who has 1%, 2% less better genetics than you that works 10 times harder. But if the genetics guy works just as hard as the guy who has a little bit worse genetics, the genetics guy is going to win every time. So you can't you can't have one or the other. That's the thing is like, but we're talking about top of the top. You're talking about, can you go pro? Can you win a pro show? You can have some slightly above average genetics, but with the best work ethic, and you're going to be able to win those shows. But once you get to that breaking top 10, 15 of the Olympia, you got to have both. And that's the thing that sucks. And that's why, like, I tell people too, is like, I didn't get into the sport. First of all, when I did my first show, I barely knew what bodybuilding was. I literally was just doing it just because it seemed like a good idea and people told me to do it. So it's like, I didn't get into it thinking I'm going to be Mr. Olympia. And it's like, if I was going to be Mr. Olympia, I probably would have known that by a much earlier age, right? Would have been something that I was just kind of like, had the genetics for. Like, look at C-Bum when he was 18. He was not bodybuilding like full time. He was lifting and stuff, I'm sure, but he was, college, high school, like playing football, whatever. He was a freak. Looked 10 times better than I do right now, and I'm 25. So, like, those are the people, like, you got to understand who you are a little bit. But I mean, there's going to be those people like, C-Bum, who just, it doesn't matter how hard you work, dude, you're never going to beat him. And I think we're seeing that now with him, like, going to open. Like, dude, it wasn't the Olympia, don't get me wrong, but like, Martin Fitzwater is a force to be reckoned with. And while C-Bum still needed another 15, 20 pounds maybe to be beating him, it was not oh my God, he shouldn't be up here. Like, and I've seen some people, dude, I don't know what he
Sean Clarita, bro. He beat Sean Clarita,
which is one of the best.
This man is an Olympian. He has won an Olympia.
That's what I'm saying. So I've seen some people saying that C-Bum's not, like, they don't think he's actually done, which I don't know. What do you think about that?
He's done. There's no, like, just like you said with Hadi, he has nothing left to prove. So what if he goes and wins an open bodybuilding Olympia? Who cares? That does nothing for
that would be
nothing. No, it does nothing.
But it's not about what it does for his legacy, because we're talking about someone who, again, and this isn't someone who had to coach. He has been just a bodybuilder. Sure, he does the social media and stuff, but that just comes with the territory. You have to. He is solely a bodybuilder. Like, the amount that he loves the sport is probably so immense we couldn't even fathom. So for me, I have two. I am with you. I don't think he's going to come back ever. But my reasoning is different than yours. I think that he's going to miss it, and he's going to be like, damn, like, I would really love to be up there again. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you remember that last high school basketball game that was like super hype, and like, like, you would give anything to go back to that moment. So for him, I feel like he's going to want to really bad. But what everybody who I'm seeing saying he's going to come back isn't thinking about is health. Now, how much weight does he need probably to be beating Samson Dowda, Derek Lungsford? You know what I'm saying? He needs another 20 to 30 pounds of lean muscle mass. How is he going to get there? Drugs. He can't do that because he has autoimmune disorder. Like, that's why he's so big on, like, I really don't use as much drugs as you guys think. Number one, because he has some of the best genetics that we've ever seen. But number two, he is not willing to risk his life. Now he has a child. So I think for you, for like your point, I think you're right. I don't think it's worth it to him, but I do think that he probably will really want to. And if he didn't have the sickness, I do think that he probably would pop out for one or two more.
So here's the thing. I don't think I disagree with you. I think if the only reason that he would come would be if his legacy was somehow in jeopardy, because his health has not been an issue for him in classic physique. And the reason,
because he's not blowing out drugs.
Okay, I hear you, but he put on how much size from 2021? His first was his first one 2020 to 2021, and he had autoimmune issues in 2019.
Yeah,
that was when he had it the worst, and he looked his worst. Then he came back the next year and looked, and I think he won that year. Then
that's because they like heavily improved his health. Like
but that's what I'm saying. Is his health markers are now under wraps to where it's like, okay, he has the autoimmune disorder under control.
You froze.
The thing is did I?
You're good now. You're good now.
Okay. So the thing is the reason that he is still competing even now, or competed even now, is I think he almost retired after 4. He almost retired after his 4th one.
I thought he was going to too.
Because he was having so many health issues, and he was having not health issues, but he was having so many mental health issues
and injuries.
He really struggled, and he got injured and everything else. Then he got injured last year, tore his lat, blah blah blah. I think that's a big factor. The second thing is his legacy now is cemented. He has 6. Like, what else is he going to do in the sport? He has to go in.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think he cares about what more he could do in the sport. I think it would solely be because he loves it so much.
Well, what I'm saying is, like, why keep putting your body through that when I'm going to make another point too. Why keep putting your body through that when you already have 6 Olympias and you are going down in the record book? If there was a Hall of Fame for bodybuilders, you'd be in it. Like, you are one of the greatest all time. Plain and simple. He's up there with the Ronnie Colemans, with the Jay Cutlers, with the whatever the guy who won 8. Besides Ronnie Coleman,
Lee Haney.
Oh my gosh, no, the black Phil Heath.
Oh, Phil Heath.
Like, he's up. Did he get there 8? With those guys. Yeah, he matched Ronnie's. I think he matched Ronnie's record.
Which 8 is crazy. I thought Sebum was going to try to beat that.
Well, that's what everybody thought. But this is my next argument. I would have too, if I'm in that situation. But again, we've talked about this. There's an age difference, even between us and him. He's 32, I think, now. He just had a daughter. He wants to be there and present with her. And here's the thing, and this is what I'm saying. It's like his mental health has been the best that it's ever been the past 2 years with
probably,
because Hadi has really, like, dialed everything in for him. He just got married. His business is absolutely exploding right now. And he just partnered with Gymshark, who is a $1 billion company. And he's going to be a big, fat partner with them. He's going to make a ridiculous amount. Like, what else does he need to do? There is nothing else. He could go and sit on the couch for the rest of his life, and he will die, and his name will be in the history books for years and years and years. Like, he's going to be the Arnold Schwarzenegger of this generation. Plain and simple. Like, think about it. This is the reason I was saying, like, him going and winning an open Olympia does not matter to his legacy at all, because he's already as good as Arnold as far as impact on he has impacted bodybuilding so heavily.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, dude, just think about
it. He might as well have created Classic. I know he didn't.
He basically did.
Yeah, he might as well have.
Basically did. You know, like, that's the whole thing, is that his legacy is so big, and it will just continue to grow. It's like Michael Jordan, right? The people who saw Michael Jordan play in person, I bet you the people that talk about it now that are like my age that never watched him play, technically we could have, like, we've been really young.
Yeah.
Talk about it more highly, because they didn't ever witness the lows. They never witnessed the whatever it is. Like,
I see that all the time, yeah.
CBum is going to be, for people that are, let's say, my age, so 30 and younger, CBum is their Arnold Schwarzenegger. So in 60 years, we're going to be telling our grandkids about the greatest bodybuilder we've ever seen, which was Chris Bumstead. You know what I mean? Like, that's how it's going to be. These other guys, I love Derek Lunsford. I love Samson Dowd. I love all these guys. I love even Hadi and what's the other guy's name? The really big guy. They do not have the legacy that Chris Bumstead. Rami. They do not have the legacy.
So
the
what do
last
you
guy
think?
who had a legacy like him was probably Phil Heath. Honestly.
Yeah. I think
just plain and simple.
What do you personally think? Because let's be honest. Like, even though we're both in it, men's physique is not bodybuilding. Classic even is not body. Like the main, like what started the bodybuilding shows. You know what I mean? Is that more like open, like bodybuilding class or whatever?
For sure.
So for you, like in terms of the most impact and things like that, like for me, it's like, okay, well, Chris might have made a huge impact and he started like this new kind of legacy of whatever, but like the true roots of bodybuilding still don't reside within classic or men's physique or whatever the case may be.
I think you're wrong. Especially right now. If you're talking about today, bodybuilding is bodybuilding because of classic physique. And if you take it back to when bodybuilding was like coming up and getting into its hype, until we got into the Max Monster era, which was the Ryan Coleman era, it was all classic physique guys.
But this is why people say that though. This is why people say this though. It's because, and my mindset on this stuff, and this is why I said that and why I think that way. Mm-hmm. Everything below bodybuilding or like open, it gets easier. It does. It is easier to be a men's physique athlete than any other class. It is easier to be in classic than it is to open, because getting to that point is immensely harder. It takes more drugs, takes more risk, takes more time. So for me, bodybuilding is supposed to be this very hard, only certain people can do it thing. And that's why I don't like it today, because a lot of people are...
You're frozen, by the way.
Yes, I said that's the reason I don't like it as much today, because people are able to anybody's able to do it. It's like, that's great because it brings more to the sport, more money and more eyes, and that's all good and well. But like, for me, I just think it should be a very unattainable thing, because that's what makes it special. And that's why like recently, over the last couple of years, I've been way more aligned with, okay, I want to go open. I want to push those limits, because that's how I am with the sport, is I want to do it to the best of my ability and give it everything that I got. So for me, it's just like, I look at, not taking away anything from Chris Bumstead as one of the best bodybuilders, yes, of all time. And he definitely brought way more eyes to it, which, Instagram, TikTok did that as well, with just bringing more eyes to it. But at the end of the day, it's like, open is still that class that's like, shit, dude, it's
but
it's just really hard to get to that level.
Think about this, like maybe not the past 2 years, but 2 years before that, when Chris was still kind of like, he was coming dominating. Up. He was dominating, but he was still like, people were like, oh, I think maybe what's the short guy? Rough Diesel can get in there and get him this year, or maybe yours can get him, or maybe Ramon can get him. Blah 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 blah. So, like, during that time, I could kind of see what you're saying as far as like open bodybuilding was still the thing. But if you go back and you look at numbers, and you look at, and you could probably poll people. That's the reason I say like younger people, right? So people my age and younger.
I 100%.
They're watching the classic physique.
Yes, no,
that's their main focus.
That I agree with you. The collective, like who's watching what, but that's my point. They're doing that because, again, like.
But you can't tell me that it's easy. You can't tell me that it's easy. It may be easier.
Nothing about bodybuilding is easy.
Only slightly easier. And then even for men's physique, like, yes, it's easier than classic physique. But the thing is I know classic physique guys who work way less hard than men's physique guys. And same for open bodybuilding guys. But I think, so to your point, this will be kind of to your point, I think that open bodybuilding is the hardest to attain.
Yeah, it is.
But there's only a very minute, it's very small portion of the population that can get the actual bodybuilding look, which we have discussed about your physique specifically, because you are so tall, because you're 6'2", 6'3", like, and your legs are just naturally smaller. Like, they're long and small. They're strong, but they're just small. So, like, there's a possibility no matter what drugs you put in your system, no matter how much food, no matter how much time you could give it the next 10 years, you still will probably not be open bodybuilding size, right?
Yeah.
Because you are so big. Unless you just have a crazy growth spurt, you get on some growth hormone and you just explode, then I'll be the first one to be like, hey, that's my bad on that. You believe in yourself. I'm here for it. I'll be there cheering on for you, whatever. But the thing is like, that's the reason that I think classic specifically, but even men's physique is so important to the bodybuilding community, and why I think it is
100%.
actually, especially classic. I think classic is overtaken, because here's another thing too. If you go to local shows, right? So like a NPC amateur show, guess what? 2 divisions are the fullest. Men's physique, because it is technically the easiest.
It's always men's physique.
And classic, men's physique's always just stuff full of people. And classic physique is second, even though it's a good bit harder than men's physique. It's always those guys. And then guess who crosses over to the open? Like, if it was just if you had to stay in one division or the other, you'd have 2 people in open classes, because it's so
which you see
hard.
a lot of times.
You do. It's so hard to get that X frame of an open guy. It's so hard to get that.
Yeah, and like, of course, I completely agree with you that people view classic men's physique, they're more popular. I 100% agree with you on that in terms of viewership and all that kind of stuff. 100%. Again, internet and people like Chris Bumstead and stuff brought a lot of, like I said, like Derek, Samson, these guys aren't doing social media like C-Bum's doing social media. So yes, and it was his job. He set that. I want to create the standard for classic. So he brought a lot of those eyes.
What about Nick Walker? Nick Walker does the hell out of some social media, and he's nowhere near. He does,
but he's been out of the picture for a while. And like you said, to your point, it's such an unachievable thing. But my point wasn't what's more popular. What are people doing more? That wasn't my point. My point was the heart and soul of bodybuilding started with more open style, right?
Well,
but was classic, was men's physique, all of those things were imperative for the growth of the sport. Would it be growing as fast as it would be without classic, without men's physique? Fuck no. But like I said, for me, exactly. For me, I think, and again, I hate the way that fitness as a whole has gone, because it is so watered down and like there's so much BS out there. But like back then, again, it's a very hard physique to attain. The work ethic, the grit, the grind of those older guys that started bodybuilding, that's what I connect with the most. I don't connect with what is happening nowadays, which, again, I've said this a lot. Bodybuilding has just gotten a lot softer than it should be.
Well,
and not necessarily at the top level, but
why do you say it's gotten softer? Because bodybuilders are way better. Now, hold on. Let me take that back. Open bodybuilding is not its best ever. I think Derek Lunsford could hold his own against the Jay Cutlers and some of these other guys, and even Samson Dowda could as well. But the golden era of bodybuilding, there's been two. One was Arnold's era. Mm-hmm. It was because it was dominated by Lou Ferrigno and those guys. But then there was another one, which was like the Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, and Phil Heath era, right? Which we kind of just came out of, and we're not into a new one yet. But between those, you had what's the Dorian Yates? But like Dorian Yates is kind of you don't hear from him. You know what I mean? You don't ever. So my question is, do you think that classic physique could ever overtake bodybuilding as being the premier bodybuilding image? Because I think here's another thing is, I think classic physique is the most, if one thing, it's the most aesthetic looking. It just is.
Yeah.
Classic physique for almost anyone, and I'm not necessarily saying Olympia level, but being a decent classic physique bodybuilder is attainable for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
If, time, training, food, all that stuff aside, like genetically, anyone can get to a decent classic physique look, right? With enough training, enough time, blah, blah, blah. Do you think that could overtake men's open bodybuilding as far as, I'm not just talking about popularity, but I'm talking about legacy wise because right now we've only had the one Chris Bumstead, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like Chris Bumstead versus Arnold. Who's going to come in and take that next place? Is it going to be Mike? Is it going to be Raymond? Is it going to be Rough Diesel if he comes back? Is it going to be yours? Like,
it looks 100%.
Who's going to be the Ronnie Coleman? You know what I mean? Who's going to be the next Ronnie Coleman?
Yeah.
Ronnie Coleman took it to another level. You know what I mean?
It definitely looks like, Mike is next up. But to my point, like, do I think that it could overtake that? Yes, but again, look at what you said. Physique is attainable, or classic is attainable for a lot of people. Open is not. And why I said bodybuilding is getting softer is because every generation that comes is softer, right? So we don't have. Think of when Arnold started.
Why are bodybuilders getting better though?
Let me finish my point.
Okay.
When Arnold started, think of the average man back then. And this just goes to society, right? I'm talking about society as a whole. If you are going to be a top 5 Olympia, you are going to be the outlier. I'm not talking about these people. Bodybuilding as a whole is soft right now, is softer. When Arnold started, the average man, the work ethic, the testosterone levels, all these things were so much higher. We had more, an average male had more grit, more desire, more motivation, and was just better performing, right? So now we have these kids, and this is why I said bodybuilding is getting soft, because so many people are, okay, I'm this influencer, I'm this fitness influencer, let me step on a stage. Those stages are soft as shit. They're some of the worst physiques that I've ever seen on a stage. It's just until you get to high level pro stages, there's a lot of soft ass bodybuilders. There's so many people competing. How much easier is it today to get a pro card than it was 20 years ago? Because the people that were competing, it was less popular. So the people that were competing were dogs.
Hold on. Let me make a point to that. So you just said that if we went 20 years back, how many people were competing in bodybuilding? I guarantee you it was a tenth of the amount of people that are competing now.
That's my point, though.
To your point, is the threshold to get a pro card much wider now? Yes, but you are competing against a much bigger field. It would be like, this is a good example because we've both been to decently. You went to a big high school, right? I can't remember if you told me that. Like smaller,
teeny tiny.
I've been to small and I've been to big. I've been to 1A schools. I've been all the way up to 5A schools. So I mean, there's a huge massive difference. That's kind of like where we're going from. We're going from like one person out of this school is, one person a year out of this school is going to go pro. You know what I mean? Versus, but you only have maybe 150 kids in the whole school. I'm going to a high school, which is just 4 grades, and they have 2,000 kids. How many people out of those 2,000 kids do you think are going to be great at sport, basketball, or usually multiple, more than just one? So do you see where I'm going with this? Like, I understand what you're saying, but you have to open it up a little bit. You have to open up the pro card threshold a little bit because you have because it would be like, I'm trying to think, like, okay, let's say Dan and Alex Toplin. Dan, big back then. Dan and Alex Thompson. Yeah, that's just how you can. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
It's funny because he said on Instagram the other day, I saw him make a post. He was like, "I'm like known for like this, my big back and stuff." He's like, "That's not what all I want to be known for." It's like, but that's how everybody describes him.
My bad, Dan. My fault. It's just that's your main physique, man. That's your main thing. But and it's working for you. Whatever you're doing, just keep doing it.
It is.
But they both, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong on this. They both are pro level physiques. When they turned pro, they both had pro level physiques. What if there was only one? What if there was only one show? Like, let's say there was just one pro show a year, and
I get what you're saying.
They're both in it. Do you see what I'm saying? So you have to open that up to get more. And second, what it does, this is another thing and that we don't think about very often, money. When you allow a bigger threshold of pros, so like let's say you take it from 2 shows a year to 6 shows a year. So you're getting what is that 12 pros a year, whatever it's going to be, compared to just whatever it was going to be 3 before. Like, you're getting more people to compete, which is going to pay you more money, which gives you more money to pay the pros that are going to be, that are going to stick in the pro leagues and not just like, hey, I got to quit because I got to go work a job, or I have a baby now, so I can't really do this anymore. I can't focus on this. I got to go. Like, bodybuilding is a privilege. It's not something that, it's not something that you need to do. Yeah. It's something that you get to do. It's it's a hobby. Like, it's playing sports. Like, so when you have to think about those things. And when you bring those things into play, has bodybuilding gotten soft at the bottom, like at the very bottom of the triangle? Yes. But if you start going towards the top, it's gotten better.
Yeah, no, and that's what I mean. Like, in total,
pro cards are just as good as 20 years ago. It's not like the threshold has just opened up. It's not like it's lowered.
I don't know, dude. I've seen some pro cards that should not have been handed out. I have multiple.
When they're the best physique there, you have.
But that's my point. Yeah. It doesn't. There's 2 separate sides of the story. For business purposes and growth of the sport, yeah, of course you have to do those things. But me personally, I'm looking at this through my eyes, and what I want, regardless of money, is, like, to your point, like Dan and Alex. Okay, that's going to be a hard decision, but the judges are going to have to make that decision, which it makes it more exciting for me when I go, like, okay, personally, when I go up on stage and I'm going for my pro card. And how do you feel about this? Because when you go up on stage, imagine getting a 2nd place pro card. I don't fucking want that shit. That doesn't mean anything to me. See, that's where we differ.
It's like, dog,
that's where we differ.
The show is set up for a reason.
No, that's weak. No, that's weak.
You can't say that's weak when you just beat 22 other guys.
I don't care. I didn't beat everybody. You
didn't beat everybody. Who gives a
So I failed. I give a shit. I'm doing it for me, not for you, not for the fans, not for the internet. I'm doing it for me. So if I don't feel accomplished with what I got, then I don't feel accomplished with what I got. I would rather not get a pro card than get a 2nd place pro card. Yeah. 100%.
That is the most idiotic thing I've ever heard in my life.
It's not. It's not.
That's the most idiotic, and I've heard
I'm trying to win, bro. I'm trying to win.
I've heard this from other people too. But you cannot be upset.
First or last.
That's like saying that if you
first or last.
If you win your class and you don't win an overall, it's like, oh, you didn't win. It's like, yes, you did.
100%. No, you didn't.
You beat.
No, you lost.
You're saying no, you didn't. You lost.
Yes, you did. You lost.
Either a guy who was 6'4".
You lost.
And
you lost.
300 pounds, or you lost to some 5'6" guy like that. You didn't lose. You lost to somebody who was.
You lost.
Your demographic. No, that's not true. That's like saying you go to a fucking a college basketball team goes and plays an NBA team. They lose to the NBA team. They're supposed to fucking lose to the NBA team because the NBA team is better. But
then you need to come back next year, be better, and win.
They still won the national championship for college.
Woo. And then you lost. But they're not the best.
You are allowed to lose and still win. Like, I don't understand this mindset of you have to beat everyone because you're never going to beat
You do. That's what it's about. Winning is what it's about.
Hold on. You didn't beat everyone. Like, for instance, if Samson Dowda had the same mindset as you, he gets the Olympia, he wins the Olympia, awesome. Dang, man, well, Nick Walker wasn't in this Olympia, so I didn't beat everyone I wanted to beat this year. So this is a disappointment.
He doesn't compete. He doesn't count.
So stupid.
First of all, he
just didn't show up. He just didn't show up this year.
2 years in a row, he ain't show up. So he's not in the picture. I'm talking about people that were in the show. Like you said, okay, if you get 2nd in the same show, that guy competed. Guess what? You got 2nd. You lost. You shouldn't be handed a pro card. I'm sorry. You didn't deserve it. I'm sorry. I don't care whose feeling that hurts. I don't care if it hurts your feelings. But if you go up there and you get a 2nd place pro card, that is less than getting the 1st place pro card. It just is.
It's not about hurting my feelings. It's about simply being incorrect. Because the show is set up.
So if you get second, you're first. So they should give out 2 first place trophies. Is that what you're saying?
I didn't say you're first. You are still.
Because if you're second, you're last.
The show is set up to, hey, the top 2 in this class are going to get pro cards.
Yeah,
so
that's
guess
stupid.
What? You're not fighting for 1 slot. You're fighting for 2 slots.
And that's easier. My point, bodybuilding is softer.
If you want to do that, that's fine. There are shows where you have to win. And why? Okay, let's take a bigger step. And I like this because this is like actually what I wanted to get into.
When we get Nate fired up, you know it's a good combo.
So, what happens if you win your pro card in your class, but you don't win the overall? Did you still lose? Because yes, according to your logic, you lost.
Yes.
You're still not a pro. You still do not deserve a pro card if you fucking go to the overall and lose to somebody who is fucking bigger and better than you.
Yes, that's what the point of losing is. That's the biggest guy, the best looking guy wins. Why would you give me a trophy if I looked worse?
As well as I know, that is not true.
Yes, it is.
Every single time. No. The biggest, best looking guy is not always.
Well, no.
We know that.
But that's not on anybody but the judges for making a wrong call. But they judge on what they see fit. But at the end of the day, for me, if I go up there and I get handed a second place pro card, I'm gonna be pissed. I'm sorry. I have a very competitive spirit. That is what I want, and I don't want people. Because guess what? The crowd doesn't give a fuck about the second person. They give a fuck about this guy beat every last solo on this stage. And if second place is good enough for you, that's fine. It's not good enough for me. It's not. It's not good enough for me.
It has nothing to do with being okay. So for instance, let's do this. Basically, what a national stage is it is a draft. It is a draft. You're going to get drafted from being an amateur, being in college, kind of, to you're getting drafted to be in the pros. So, to me, what a second place pro card is I just got picked second or third in the draft.
Yeah, you don't feel any type of way about that?
I'm going to be hyped about that.
No, that's terrible.
I'm going to be a dog in the league. I'm going to have to work my ass off. Yeah, I just got second. Yeah, I get to fucking – yes, it sucks. I didn't get first. Boo-hoo-hoo. Boo-hoo. But guess what? You're still a fucking pro. Guess what? You still can't get the card back. Guess what? You still can't go back and compete again. Now
Actually, you can.
Against the big dog.
Actually, you can.
You can't.
If you don't buy it, it expires.
Don't buy what? Yeah, but
you have to pay for your pro card.
I know, but you can't go and compete in the amateur leagues after that. Once you go pro,
then why would they have the pro card expire? That doesn't make sense.
Because they want to keep making money. Bodybuilding, dude, any business like this is about.
Oh yeah, it's all about money. Yeah, of course.
Because when you're a pro, you don't have to pay to go to pro shows.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So they have to that is the reason it's so important for them to open up the bottom level threshold and for the amateur ranks. That's the reason they probably are going to start adding a transformation division into NPC shows.
Oh
yes. They're probably going to do that. I don't know when.
No, where'd you hear that?
There are already some that are doing it. There are already shows that are doing it. Now, there's no pro card or anything like that for natural transformations, but there are legitimate shows that are doing transformation divisions and you get a trophy and I think it's cool. I don't. Okay, I get what you're saying.
This isn't for everyone, bro. It's not.
I know.
You're including everyone. This is not a sport where we include everyone.
That's what I was about to say.
You have to deserve. You have to earn that shit.
You don't think losing 300 pounds is deserving of something?
100%, but not. You don't have to mix it with. This is bodybuilding isn't about losing. Yes, that's the main thing you do to get on stage, but it's not about. It's about the people who have that.
It is about bettering yourself. It is about bettering yourself.
Yes.
That is what
a transformation class doesn't belong in bodybuilding, bro. It just doesn't. That's not bodybuilding.
I agree with you.
That's just being a healthy fucking person. Right. That's all that is. You want a cookie for what you should have already done? You want a cookie for oh my God, you should have never been 300 pounds. Yeah. You should have never been 300 pounds.
That's fair. But we all know there are people out there that are 300 pounds that need to, if they lost 150 pounds, 100 pounds, they would look fantastic.
And I'll fucking give them a hand, whatever, and you can go do Summer Shredding Classic, but you're not gonna fucking. And okay, here's the.
You want to know who started that? Was Summer Shredding. Summer Shredding is the one who's gonna fuck us all because of how.
That's why there's so many soft bodybuilders getting on stage right now. Like it is all Summer Shredding's fault, which is fine. I don't think.
Here's the thing with it though. There were bad bodybuilders getting on stage back in 20, 30 years ago. There were bad bodybuilders. There was.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So that all we've done is just made those people, we've 10x them. All the really good guys are still really fucking good. There's just a lot more really bad ones.
Yeah.
That is where I'm trying to change.
No, I see what you're saying. Yeah. No, I see what you're saying on that for sure.
The really good bodybuilders are still really good.
Oh yeah.
If there are 10 people that are trash, or if there are 2 people that are trash, they're still going to be really good. So to me,
my thing is this: there's too much. There's too much fluff. Yeah, but it brings a lot of fluff that I don't need to. That because here's the thing: is those people don't matter.
No.
Because
you want to be able to show up to a show and be like, yeah, I beat like 10 dudes that were just freaking beasts.
Yep.
It's like,
exactly.
I don't care who I'm beating. As long as I'm freaking beating you, I can beat some dude that showed up because he lost the fantasy football thing. I don't give a fuck.
And again, I think our mindsets on everything heavily depend on what our life period is like right now. For me, I can put in another 15 years damn near, really, in reality. Like I could compete till I'm 40 if I wanted to. I'm not going to do that probably, but I could put in another 10 to 15 years. So for me, there is, and I feel like you down yourself a lot, but like for me, the possibilities are unknown right now. For you, I feel like you feel like you're in this time crunch. Like, so for you, it's not like you don't have time to waste at all. So for you, like you, and I feel like we both.
I'm not willing to die for this. We've talked about this before, but I'm not willing to die for bodybuilding anymore. You didn't ask me when I was 26, 27. If you asked me when I was 22, 23, if I would have been bodybuilding, I would have died for the sport.
Yeah, exactly.
As you get older, me being 30 years old, like as you get older, you realize that there is so much life to live after you turn 40 years old. Like half of your life is after you're 40.
Yeah.
And like we think because we're young still, we're like, 40 just feels so old.
It's not.
I thought the same about 30. I feel the exact same now as I did when I was 21 years old. The only thing that's different, I have a little bit more facial hair, a little bit less hair on top, and I'm a little bit. That's it. My athleticism.
And we know.
As athletic as I was when I was 22 years old. I can guarantee it.
And we know that it's all about how you take care of yourself. I mean, my mom's 44 and still goes out there and can run 10 miles straight. Like, I don't think that, oh my God, after like the people that, oh my God, after 30, 35, 40 you're screwed are the people who don't know how to take care of their health. So like that, I'm not too worried about. But again, like you said, like I think we do the sport for different, the same reasons, but different views on what we want out of it. I feel like too.
Well,
but.
yeah, I could, now just text me to stop yelling.
Shut up, Matt.
I mean, this could take me all the way back to when I was, like I said in the last episode, like when I was a kid, and kind of like my goals for myself. I mean, like I said, I lifted before I started bodybuilding. I lifted just to look good naked, to you know what I mean, like to impress girls, to whatever you want to call it. And like now my number one goal as far as fitness, maybe one of my goals is to, when I have kids and I have a daughter, I want her, or if I have a son and he brings his girlfriend, I want them to be like, damn, your dude, your dad is hot. Like, and not in a weird, creepy, like, I want them to sexually think I'm hot, but like, your dad looks great for being 45, 50,
for being 40, 50,
60,
yeah.
like whatever.
I want to look like RFK.
Like, legit, that's exactly where I want to be. And two, I want to keep my edge. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't.
Which being on testosterone, if you're going to stay on test the rest of your life, that should happen.
It's going to help. But here's the thing: is like you see these guys, you see these like 70-year-olds getting beaten up by these whatever 15, 16-year-old kids. Like, I don't ever want to get to a point where I'm like that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Now I may still get my ass whooped.
Mike Tyson and Jake Paul.
Yeah. Well, no, he's there's a whole
Rigged.
no, I'm talking about like you see videos online like old people getting beat up in the street.
Yeah.
And it's like I want to be able to at least throw a punch back.
Yeah.
Like these guys just kind of cower and like, oh my god, they just let them run up on him. Like, no, bro, you better square up because
Yeah. I might be 60, but I still got it.
Yeah, you may whoop my ass, but I'm gonna get some of your ass too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not walking away here unscathed.
Yeah.
Or I'll just start carrying a gun. I'll just get fat and start carrying a gun. Then it'll be ready. Like,
You said I'll get fat and start carrying a gun. That's true.
But like, no, I started lifting though to look good for women, and then now I want to look good for my kids and my hopefully grandkids. And my I want to be the person that walks into the room at 55. And everybody's like, "Whoa, you're 50."
And you think bodybuilding was kind of your key to unlocking that mindset?
Bodybuilding was my avenue to get serious about
your
my
health.
body,
my
health. And then now it has kind of evolved into bodybuilding has vaulted me into a career that I love. I love the fitness space. I love being involved in bodybuilding. I love teaching bodybuilding. I love learning about bodybuilding. I love watching bodybuilding. Like, that is my thing to do now. And so, like, I want to continue to be good at that. I want to look like I used to bodybuild. Does that make sense? Like, I'm going to walk around the gym or my go to a meeting or whatever, and people be like, "Oh, that dude must have been like a bodybuilder or something." You know, that's who I want to be. That is all. I want to be Joe Rogan. Like, that's the type of person that I want to be. I want to be well-rounded, so I have a plethora of knowledge about different things. I do different things. Like, he bow hunts, he does this, he's in the car, blah, 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 blah. And he does the MMA stuff. Like, I want to do that, but he's also jacked.
Yeah.
Like, he's 55 and he's jacked. I want to be that. You know what I mean? Am I going to be bodybuilding that old? No. I have no reason. I have a client right now that is 58 years old and he wants to turn pro before he's 60. And
you froze up. There, you're good.
Oh, my bad. I was just saying, I have a client who's 58 and wants to, he wants to turn pro before he's 60. And I'm like, I'm here for that. I'm down. But 100%. Guess what? Like, that is not me at all.
Yeah.
Like, if you see me bodybuilding past 35, I'm going to be highly surprised. Seriously.
Yeah. And I think that's I'll kind of leave everybody with this, and we'll wrap it up here. But I think the one piece of advice that I do want to leave, because this one was a lot of revolving bodybuilding, and obviously I made my views on it clear. So I think what I want to leave everybody is, if you're going to get into bodybuilding, I don't out of everything that I said, I don't mean that you have to get into bodybuilding wanting to be the best of the best and win Mr. Olympia and be number one in the world. That shouldn't be your only reason for getting into bodybuilding. But what you do have to have is a why. And that why is going to evolve. As you saw with Nate, his first why was, much more superficial than it is now. But a lot of people are getting into it with the wrong reasons. I want to get famous on Instagram. I want to make money. I want to do all these things. First of all, if you get into bodybuilding, you're going to be broke if you have nothing outside of that bringing you money. This sport will not bring you any money.
Lot of money. You're probably still going to be broke.
You're not going to be C-Bum. You're not going to be Nick Walker. You're not going to probably not going to be these guys who are, those are one of ones, right? If you are, great, but I'm talking to the masses. So don't get into it for money or for whatever. Get into it for, which I think we both did, regardless of how me and Nate view it, for the love of bodybuilding. Because if you don't have that passion, that burning passion for the sport, even for Nate, like, he's not coming out of this being Mr. Olympia. He's not coming out of this being one of the best in the world, whatever. Neither of us are even pro yet. But what we got, because we were so passionate, because we went so hard at this, were things that will and have transferred into our professional lives, into our personal lives, all of these things. And I think that's why I get so upset when I see soft guys getting into bodybuilding, because you're not really bodybuilding. You're not living the lifestyle. You're not going hard. And unless you suffer through this sport like that, it will never create these mental things that have launched both of us in our careers, have launched both of us into, like, where I was a year ago versus where I am now isn't because I did a show. It's because everything I did to get ready for that show, everything I did to, like, mentally to grow 70 pounds from my last stage weight, all of those things, people don't understand how much more mental benefits you get rather than the physical. So when you get into bodybuilding, make sure that you have a good why. And if your why is because I want to be the best, great, but do it. Don't be 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Be 100%. Don't half-ass shit, and don't look back thinking like, dang, I could have gone harder at that, or whatever the case may be. And don't half-ass it just because there's 100 other competitors in your show who looked like they half-assed it too. That is not the standard that I think that bodybuilding should have. And if we have as many people as we have in competing nowadays and in bodybuilding nowadays, amazing. But if they are all have the mindsets that we have and of a true bodybuilder, that's where the sport will truly be great, because everybody's finding their actual full potential. So anybody who's wanting to get into it, know that you got to have the right reasons, or you're never going to get out of it what you wanted. But yeah,
I'm gonna have a final statement real quick too about on that same subject. I personally like to see soft guys getting into bodybuilding, because it's going to do one of two things. Because I was a soft guy when I got into bodybuilding. I was real soft, mentally terribly soft. I was so unconfident on just had no self-esteem, no self-worth. If you are going to get into bodybuilding and you are soft, you'll know it pretty quick. If you're soft, you're going to know real quick.
Immediately.
But if you can stick with it, guess what? Bodybuilding can develop a hardness. I can't think of any other word other than that. Like a resilience that will only benefit you in every other aspect of your life. And I promise you, if you do it and you do it right, and I'm talking about you go through the shit, you go through the hard stuff, you diet hard, you don't cheat, you do your cardio, you don't cheat on that, you do all of your workouts, you follow the program that your coach or whatever you have set for yourself. Like, you do those things, it is only going to make your outside life that much better. And Caden used it as a really great example of, we started bodybuilding because we love the sport, right? And it has developed us into, now we're coaches, so we're helping other bodybuilders develop into their best physiques. It has given us a career path, for both of us. We both have our careers that we want to do for the rest, or for a long time, maybe not the rest of our life, but for a long time. And it's given us a purpose. That's huge. Think about that. Think about, we didn't have, or I didn't, I don't know about you, but I didn't have a purpose before I got into bodybuilding. I had my purpose was, I want to make money. Of course, everybody, exactly.
No shit,
So I got into bodybuilding losing a ridiculous amount of money, but now it is my career. It is what I do to make money. Now am I getting on a bodybuilding stage making money? No, but indirectly it has caused me or it has helped me make money. So get into it with the right mindset, even if you're soft. Even if you are one of those soft guys, get into it.
Just don't remain soft.
Exactly. Develop into somebody who is resilient, because I've done it. I know that bodybuilding can absolutely do that for you. But with that being said, this episode was awesome. This is one of our best episodes.
It's our second one. He said it's one of our best. I hope so. I hope it's better than the last one. But if you stayed to the end, got heated, I'm sure you'll see more and more heated arguments like that between us. We got a plethora.
Don't make fun of my neck veins either, because I was going hard there for a little bit. My face was getting red. I'm sweating. Whoo!
Got that boy hot. He's ready. He's ready to go hit a workout.
Yeah, I legitimately have to go hit a workout now.
I got chest and shoulders today, baby.
What do I got today? Today's Tuesday? Yeah, chest and arms.
Let's do it. All right. Appreciate you guys for tuning in.
Yeah,
peace.
Appreciate you.